I walked into the classroom completely clueless. Zero teaching experience, zero idea of what I was doing. And there stood Mr. M, a veteran teacher, tall, imposing, friendly, but reserved. I approached him nervously. Please be patient with me. I don't have any experience in teaching. Think about it. This man already had a full class of students to teach. Now he had a teacher assistant who also needed teaching. But as the wonderful, dedicated teacher he was, he took this full on. Every single day, 30 minutes before school started, he would prepare me for what he'd be teaching. It had been years since I finished 5th grade and I didn't remember many things. Plus, this was in international school with a British curriculum I never studied, but every day he taught me first. Mr. M was firm, focused, structured, disciplined. He functioned like a Swiss clock, and I loved it. Now, I know I told you in my previous episodes that I like uncertainty, but here's the contradiction. I also love structure and strict discipline. As much as I like to venture out there, live unpredictably and adventurously, I'm also very structured, disciplined, and I thrive in environments like this. Chaotic environments make me tired, so working with him felt like home. Then came that maths lesson that changed everything. He taught the lesson, we divided the children into groups, and I was given the naughty but bright children who usually get it fast. But this time, they didn't pay attention. They were very busy debating religion. Yes, religion in math class. Pay attention, I told them multiple times. Get back to work, you have to do. They didn't listen. I told Mr. M, he told them too, nothing lasted. Internally, I was so frustrated to the roof. They continued until finally we said, if this work is not done, you'll have to finish it during your break. When they heard that, they went to work. There were only 10 minutes in the lesson, but here's the problem. Because they didn't pay attention, they didn't know how to solve the exercise. Can you teach us how? They asked me. I was too frustrated and angry with them to teach them anything. I refused. That is when Mr. M heard the conversation. He took us all out of the classroom, me and the naughty kids, and asked what happened. I explained everything. The kids admitted their mistake and apologized to me. Then Mr. M sent them inside, telling them he would come help and teach them again. But he kept me outside. Once the kids were inside, he looked at me and said very firmly, your job is to teach them no matter how long it takes them to finally come around and do what you tell them to. If they are willing to finally listen, even they misbehaved until then, your job is still to teach them. My ego crashed to the floor. I was shocked. I couldn't believe what he was telling me. But he was so right. If I get upset and put my ego in between and try to punish them every time they don't listen, they will learn nothing. My job was to teach them and to find a way to manage my ego so my ego will not come in the way. It took a few hours to understand what a powerful lesson this was, because this doesn't happen only in teaching. This happens in everyday life. How many times do you want something from someone close to you? You ask them, you try to convince them, they don't want to, you fight, you get angry, and when they finally say yes, what do? You say, no need. Why? You got what you wanted. In the end, they listen to you. Why don't you want it anymore? Your ego got in the way. Mr. M taught me that day such a powerful lesson that I'll carry forever. But there was another challenge that pushed this lesson even deeper. The hardest part wasn't managing my ego when kids misbehave. It was learning to genuinely like the ones who hit all my buttons. It's easy to like sweet kids who behave, but those who defy you or disrespect you daily, that's where the real work begins. Mr. M showed me that you have to like all your students, because having favorites, kids sense it immediately. So although I prefer the well-behaved ones, I had to find ways to genuinely connect with every child. I had to separate their behavior from who they truly were. And you know what? The kids noticed. One child even wrote me a note saying I was kind even when they disrespected me. That moment showed me something profound. When you refuse to let your ego dictate your love, people feel it. Now, this doesn't mean letting anyone walk all over you. There were still consequences, logical ones that taught lessons, not punishment born from wounded pride. Every unwanted behavior had consequences, but those consequences didn't change how I felt about the person behind the behavior. This skill completely transformed my personal life. Now, even when someone hurts me badly, I can still have love for them. They don't get away with what they did, logical consequences still apply, but I don't need to hold grudges or hate people for their actions, because people are not their behavior. Right now, think about someone in your life who frustrated you, who didn't listen, who made you angry, and when they finally come around, you rejected them. Not because you didn't want what they were offering, but because your ego was hurt. We all do this. We all let our wounded ego destroy the very thing we are trying to achieve. The question is, will you choose your ego or will you choose to be a teacher?